Good morning, everybody. Dan with Pain Free You. Today's topic, actually before I get into that, just wanted to see if you guys could give me a little bit of feedback. I find that over time, as I do more and more of these videos, many of the core concepts that I'm trying to teach are repeated in many of the videos. And I wanted to find out whether or not that is becoming tiresome, or it's actually good to have these reminders with these videos, and whether or not that helps kind of lock in what you need to learn and what you need to start doing and who you need to start becoming in order to get pain-free. So please comment below and let me know if a bit of the repetitive nature is helping you or is kind of turning you off and you're probably going to stop watching soon. So just looking for that little bit of feedback. I feel it's important for me to reiterate some of these things because, again, the overall concept of what I'm trying to get across is not that complicated. It's more difficult to implement, but it's not that complicated. So, that being said, today's topic, I just wanted to talk about the brain. And what is the brain's job? The brain's job is to do, number one, keep you safe, right? That's its job. That's why we have this fight or flight response. That's why when something dangerous comes about, we react instantly, right? Adrenaline, cortisol, our fight or flight response kicks in, and we're either going to fight or we're going to run. And there's also the freeze, you know, like the deer caught in the headlights. So absolutely to keep you safe. And this whole TMS distraction pain, this distraction process is there to keep us safe. Your brain is literally trying to protect you from that which it believes is dangerous, scary, overwhelming, unacceptable, and doesn't fit in with our own self-image of ourselves. So the brain is there to keep us safe. Now, when we're not in the danger mode, or even when we are, the brain is also trying to give us what it believes we want. So, again, back to the musician example. If you go to play the piano for the very first time, you're going to be awful, right? And so the brain says, well, whatever, we'll try to figure that out. But if you diligently, with intention, start to practice every day, your brain goes, well, they clearly want to play the piano. And so let's get more efficient at that. And so the neurons that are firing to learn how to play piano start to wire together, and it starts to create efficiencies. Okay, so keep you safe and get more and more efficient. And the end result of getting more efficient is to essentially, the brain wants to give you exactly what it believes that you want. So how does this apply to distraction pain? Well, the brain is listening all the time. It listens to the conversations you have with the outside world. It listens to doctors. It listens to our internal thoughts, and that's the key. Our internal thoughts are literally telling the brain what you feel is the most important thing, and the brain says, okay, got it. I'm going to get really efficient. And you know, as you evaluate your thoughts, if you are constantly looking at a scary future full of pain and depression and sadness and disability, your brain's going to lock in and go, got it. That must be what's really important because he or she is thinking about that all day long. And so this is why I try to tell you to start to envision the future you want. At the same time, living in the present. I've been studying a lot about the subconscious mind and when it takes over and when it doesn't. And when you start to imagine a future, you're not living in the present. And what that means is that when you're not in the present and you're not observing, like I could really just sit out here for an hour and just observe and listen to the birds, a little bit of wind in the trees, right? Get in the present. But when you're not in the present, you're thinking about this future. And unfortunately, a lot of us are thinking about this scary future of all the stuff we don't want. Our subconscious kind of takes over. Do you ever get lost in thought or a conversation while driving, and before you know it, you're 10 miles down the road, you didn't even know it? That was the subconscious driving. Why? Because it's gotten really good and efficient at driving, so you can practically do it while you're not paying attention. And while we're not paying attention, now listen, when you go into the future and start catastrophizing on how horrible your life is going to be, you're not paying attention to what's happening now. And when you're not paying attention to now, the subconscious takes over, and the subconscious runs our thoughts about 70 to 80 to 90% of the time. So when we're not being present and observing ourselves and our thoughts and our world around us, our subconscious is just running the program. And unfortunately, most of our subconscious aren't even our thoughts. They were given to us from the time we were 0 to 7 years old. And most of that stuff is negative. So it's going to take some intention on your part to stay present. And every time you catch yourself thinking about this future that is full of, this video and this movie in our head that says, I'm looking at Dan's screwed up life. Every time you get lost there, you're basically turning over the keys to the subconscious to drive. And so the brain's job is to keep you safe and to give you exactly what it believes you want, and to give you, or to automate or program or lock in those things those are basically the instructions. So it's going to lock in and automate and become automatic and habitualize those things that you instruct it most often. So getting better from TMS and distraction pain requires that you change the instructions that you're giving your brain. Because if you continue to operate the same way you have been operating for days, weeks, months, years, decades of this chronic pain, your subconscious brain, for the most part, is running the show and is going to continue to give you what exactly you've been getting so far. If you want to predict the future, take a good look at your life now and observe your thoughts. And if you're not going to change your thoughts, you can predict the future is going to be a lot of what you've got now. So the best way to predict the future is to create the future. And that's why I say, look, I know this stuff sounds a little bit hokey. I know it sounds a little bit new age, but you've got to start visualizing deeply, with intention, the life that you want to create. And look, no doubt about it, the TMS practices of feeling your emotions are absolutely critical here. And we've got to create this vision in our head that says, these visitors are welcome, right? But you also got to start creating this vision of your future without the pain. Because if you just keep on visualizing this lifetime of pain and letting the subconscious run the show, you're going to keep on getting that same thing. And unfortunately, you can't stay the same person that got you into pain and kept you in pain in order to get better. Now, look, you don't have to go out there and say, all right, new hairstyle, new spouse, new house, new kids. That's not what I mean by change. I mean by the way you interpret the world and the way that you treat yourself. So many of us, and I see it all the time, so many of us are so hypercritical of ourselves. We're even mad at ourselves because we got into pain and that we did this to ourselves. And then we're so embarrassed and shameful because I hurt. Look, it's not your fault. I told you that a couple of videos ago. It's not your fault. So please, please go easy on yourself. The fact that you are so self-critical also means that your subconscious program that you were given when you were a kid and perhaps overly critical parents is still running the show. And the sad part is that these programs that are running are not even yours. So it's time, through intention, through thought, through planning, and through actual decision, to decide how you're going to treat yourself and how you're going to allow your subconscious to work. And you've got to literally erase some of those old subconscious beliefs and patterns and habits and replace them with what you want. How do you want to treat yourself? Write out a list. How do you want to go through life? How do you want to navigate the world? How do you want to treat yourself? Write it out. That's your homework assignment. I would love to see somebody comment below with a post that's, a post that says, here's how I want to live my life. And if all you're writing is, I want to live my life without pain, and be able to move without pain, you're missing the point. Again, we want to create the life that we want. And if we're, again, looking for, a life without pain, but yet we keep on looking behind us as we're running through life, you're going to run into something. You got to look where you want to go. And again, I know I'm repeating myself here, but these things are critical. Feel your emotions. This is key number one. You have to convince your subconscious brain that these emotions that you've been running from and hiding from and locking out and locking into the basement of our subconscious, you have to convince your subconscious brain that these emotions are safe. How do you do it? Feel them. Committed daily practice. Every single day, commit time to allowing yourself to feel these emotions. And then when you are done doing that, you need to soothe yourself. You need to convince your subconscious brain that, yeah, that was pretty intense, but I'm still good. I'm still good. Look, I'm enjoying myself. I'm smiling. I'm laughing. I'm taking a nice walk. I'm doing something that brings me joy, even though I just felt all these scary, dangerous emotions. So that's the key. That's probably the number one thing, is to feel your emotions and convince your subconscious brain that you're not really in danger. But the second thing you've got to do is start to lose your fear and lose your focus on the pain. Because again, it's just a distraction. It's literally saying, look over here, look over here. But again, it's a distraction. It's designed to keep you away from what really matters, which is allowing yourself to feel your emotions. So turn away from the fear. Turn away from the focus on the pain. Turn back to your emotions. Feel them deeply. Soothe yourself. And do this over and over and over again. You've got to repeat it. You've got to make this who you become. Again, getting out of pain is not something you do once. Because invariably, and I've seen the comments just recently, somebody just commented, oh, as soon as I found Sarno, I got better immediately. But I got a little bit cocky and the pain came back. Now I'm struggling more. And you know why you struggle more when the pain comes back? Because now you kind of doubt it. You start to question, well, what happened? Why did it come back? Why it came back is we didn't make it who we became. We got to the point where our subconscious said, all right, I got it. I buy it. These emotions are not so dangerous or scary, and so the subconscious lets go. But then you go right back to your old repression strategy, and you haven't really changed. You've done something once. So you got to do it over and over again. So if you have gotten out of pain, continue doing this process. Continue allowing yourself to feel the emotions. Continue reassuring yourself that I am safe with these emotions. And do that long enough so that the pain doesn't come back. Long enough could be weeks, months, or heck, just make it a daily practice. Got a little twinge? What am I feeling? Allow myself to feel it. And so, again, I hope I'm not repeating myself too much, but it's really just a couple of core things you got to do. Stop focusing and fearing the pain. It's just a distraction. Stop freaking out. Stop looking at your future of disability, pain, and agony. That's not helping. You've proven that to yourself. It hasn't worked. So, and no insult intended, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Sorry, it's not going to work. You got to make some changes. And unfortunately, you got to change yourself. The good news is, with intention and decision about who you want to become and how you want to interact with the world, you can make these changes. But you have to be mindful of where your subconscious automatic thoughts are running away with. Somebody mentioned a term in the past, I forget who it was, who coined the term ANTS, A-N-T-S, automatic negative thoughts, right? We have ants in the brain. And I know that's an awful visual image, but it's time to get rid of these automatic negative thoughts and replace them with things that are better and direct you to a future that you want. So I'm rambling a little bit. What I would encourage you to do is, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you know somebody who can benefit from these videos, please share my page with them. If you haven't already liked my page, Pain for You, please please like it. And it's starting to rain here, so before I wreck my camera, I'm gonna wrap this video up and go inside. Love you guys. You can do this. You will do this. So many people have gotten better, but the key to it is losing the fear and losing the focus on pain, taking an indifferent attitude like, I don't care, I got pain again, big deal, I've lived that way for years, whatever, I'm gonna have a good day anyway. And then you focus on your emotions. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.